Make a trial of this remedy, which is so simple and it will cost you nothing. Warm foot bath with leaves. You could, I guess, if you don't have leaves. This is for cough and pain in the chest and the lungs. Now, you know, this is interesting because I recently was reading a remedy for coughs in little ones. And you know what they were recommending is that you put Vicks Vapor Rub on their feet and put socks on them through the night, and it says that, yeah, exactly. And you know, it has camphor and may have, I don't know, does Vicks have any eucalyptus? I know it has camphor and menthol. Eucalyptus, okay. What? Uh-huh. 1 cup of boiled honey, into which has been added a few drops of eucalyptus oil. And then you take a teaspoon. You heat it so you can stir in the eucalyptus, you see. Okay. Second selected messages, 297. There are several things here. A cup of tea made from catnip herb will quiet the nerves. Catnip. Hops tea will induce sleep. Hops poultices over the stomach will relieve pain. Let me repeat that. Catnip is a nice herbal nervine, quietens the nerve. Hops induces sleep. It has a phytochemical in it that we've discovered called lupulin. But it will induce sleep, and hops poultices over the stomach will relieve pain. Hop poultices, H-O-P, yes, hops. You can get them at the health stores. It's a pretty common herb now. They use it in making beer. No, over the stomach relieves pain. I'm not sure. It's not mentioned in terms of what. If the eyes are weak, there's pain in the eyes, or inflammation, soft flannel cloths wet in hot water and salt will bring relief quickly. Like if you've got eye inflammation, she's talking about a warm saline compress over the eyes. Okay, if the eyes are weak and there is pain in the eyes or inflammation, soft flannel cloths wet in hot water and salt will bring relief quickly. Now, you want to know how to make salt water saline? Quick instruction. Hot water. If you'll take 1/8 ounce cup or glass of, use filtered water, add a ½ teaspoon of salt, and you'll have physiologic saline. Like if you're going to do eye drops, you know, no, 1/2 of a teaspoon per 1 cup. And that will give you saline, like, you know, the tears are salted, the body fluids are salted. 0.9. You can always tell the nurses. Others wouldn't know what that means. All right, when the head is congested, If the feet and the limbs are put in a bath with a little mustard, relief will be obtained. Head congestion, feet and limbs. So you can get head congestion with like sinusitis, a cold, you know, and the head is all, you have headache and all that, fever, achy. So mustard is an irritant, right? We don't eat it because of its irritating effects. It's a spice. Feet and limbs are put in a like a foot bath with a little mustard, and it will decongest the head. Now, I'm not sure here where you can get mustard. I don't think it's the stuff we're talking about that we squirt. I think so. Now, in India, it's no problem. The fields there are just, well, the mustard plant, you know, it produces mustard seed, has a nice yellow flower, and it's just, you can look out there in fields, they're just all yellow, you know, with the mustard. And I'm sure they probably use them. Well, they do use them for their greens and things like that. But it's an irritant. We don't use mustard, or shouldn't be using mustard. Second selected message is 297. Now, this is page 295, same book, second selected message. On one occasion, a physician came to me in great distress. He had been called to attend a young woman who was dangerously ill. She had contracted fever while on the campground and was taken to our school building near Melbourne, Australia. But she became so much worse that it was feared that she could not live. The physician, Dr. Merritt Kellogg, came to me and said, "Sister White, have you any light for me on this case? If relief cannot be given our sister, she can live but a few hours." I replied, "Send to a blacksmith's shop and get some pulverized charcoal. Make a poultice of it and lay it over her stomach and her sides." The doctor hastened away to follow out my instructions. And you know he hadn't been trained in anything like that. But thank the Lord he had faith in the prophet. Soon he returned saying relief came in less than half an hour after the application of the poultices, and she is now having the first natural sleep she has had for many days. Isn't it amazing? Fever and a charcoal poultice over the abdomen. Brother, I don't know. We can conjecture.
No, actually, I've had an experience. My mother-in-law had an addiction of the shoulder. Something on the shoulder. My wife put the force, and it should not stay on more than 24 hours. It took me 8 hours, but she allowed it to stay more than 24 hours, and then she had a cold.
So that was second selected messages 295. Just a few little excerpts from our Inspired Counsel about how these herbs can be used. Now, this is interesting to me. This you'll find manuscript 65. It's 1 BC, 1086. You know, do we have some poisonous plants now? Oh, yes, we sure do. But listen to what we're told. Not one noxious plant was ever placed in the Lord's great garden. But after Adam and Eve sinned, then poisonous herbs began to spring up. In the parable of the sower, the question was asked the master, "Did you not sow good seed in your field? How then hath it tares?" And the master answered, "An enemy has done this. All tares are sown by the evil one. Every noxious herb is of his sowing, and by his ingenious methods of amalgamation, he has corrupted the earth with tares." Now you remember we have been told that Satan has entered into his laboratory. You remember that statement? And you know, you think about all these plants that have come up now. You see, he cannot create anything, can he? Satan, he's not a creator. But he can take things and change things, amalgamate, put together. And when you think of something for just a minute, I want to just draw your mind to drug medications. What are they? It comes from, you know, a lot of people say drugs are not natural. Drugs are very natural. Drugs have to come from some natural source, right? They come from the plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom, or the animal kingdom. That's the only place they can come from. But they have been mixed together. In fact, the word pharmacy comes from the Greek word pharmacopoeia, I believe, which means a mixer of potions, you see. So we take a little here, take there, mix it together, and we come up with these things. And so we have to understand that when we get something that has potential harm for the life of human beings, that this is not from the hand of the Creator. All right? It is not. It's from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, James Duke is a PhD, has done a nice job, I think, here in this country in categorizing herbs. He's worked with the U.S. Agricultural Service. He's no longer with them, but worked there with them for years. And he's classified herbs that are generally recommended as safe for human use. Those herbs are called grass, G-R-A-S, generally recommended as safe for both food and for medicine. Generally recommended as safe. Grass, G-R-A-S. Now, when I am presenting herbal agents to people to use, I like to use those that we know do not have the potential of a lot of toxicity. There are some herbs that you can use, but they have a narrow margin of therapeutic use before you get into toxicity. A good example of that would be lobelia. Lobelia, you know, is used for seizures, asthma, some of these things, but it has a very narrow range of therapy. You get too much and the person begins to violently start to vomit. Another one would be the foxglove, lily of the valley, those kinds of things. And so we have to be very, very careful in using these herbs. And I think we ought to probably, especially for us, we ought to stay away from those things. Use what we know